From a user's or consumer, if you may, point of view, we will be using Safari as the company website. Let's say the front office journey is happening there in Safari, and then we will show you what the agent's point of view looks like, what the administrator point of view looks like. That is, how the back office of Odigo Virtual Assistant and Live Chat looks like on Google Chrome. So I am here in Safari in the company's web portal. I am an employee of this company, and as you have noticed in the lower right side of the monitor, there is a yellow button that will be able to allow the web visitors to engage with the virtual assistant. After perhaps challenging the virtual assistant, hello, how are you? Realizing that this is indeed a humanized type of conversation with an intelligent self-service. Me as a user, as an end user of this web channel, I will ask directly the question that I need to be solved. So let's imagine that I am having an issue with my client mail. My client mail is Outlook. I need to be able to set email rules in Outlook. So I'm gonna go right ahead and ask the virtual agent about this. How to set up email rules in Outlook. The virtual agent is programmed to be able to provide this type of information, and the way it has been programmed to do so is by using the sidebar feature, guiding at every step of the way the configuration on how to set up email rules in a Outlook client email in this case. So once the user has been able to finish up this setup, he will close the corresponding instructions, and at that point the virtual assistant will ask him whether it provided or not the right answer. In this case it did, so the feedback is positive, and we will see along the demo how important this is from an analytics point of view, and from a perspective of enriching the virtual agent's understanding on the user's behaviors on the web channel. Now, let's imagine that I need other information, for example, on how to set up a VPN connection. As a user, I'm just going to type the keyword VPN. In this case, the virtual agent is able to explain using the same feature that we saw previously, how to fix a VPN issue. The keyword is understood by the virtual assistant. We could imagine a case in where a simple word wouldn't be understood by the virtual assistant. So let's imagine me as a user. I am having issues with the web portal, and I am typing portal. The virtual assistant is not programmed yet to understand just the word portal. So even though it does not fully 100% understand this keyword, it is nonetheless asking me if the question regards to how to connect to the portal. This is correct. In this case, the virtual agent has answered correctly. It's gonna send me to the right page, and it has given me the proper answer. Excellent. Let's imagine a situation that is more critical and where human intervention would be needed. This would be the scenario. I am quickly going to go to Google Chrome, where you know that we have the back office. We are demoing the back office on Google Chrome, the agent's point of view on Google Chrome, the administrator of Odigo Virtual Assistant and Live Chat back office view on web browser Google Chrome. I am going to make myself available as a live chat agent here on the back office. I will be acting as myself. The operator available here is Carlos Lozano, and I will go back to Safari web browser, where we are demoing and emulating the end user, the web visitor. Let's imagine that there is a critical situation, that the web user is already on travel for business, and he needs to talk to a human resource right away. I would like to talk to an operator. As you most likely, hopefully, have heard the beep, and also you're able to see here the icon of a suited man. I am now connected with the available operator. Going back to Google Chrome browser, I am able to see that for the past 30 seconds I have been requested to engage with somebody on the web channel. I will go ahead and open this conversation. The first thing I'm going to do as an operator in the back office here in Google Chrome is that I'm going to be able to get a little bit of historic background context on the previous conversations that the user has had with the virtual assistant. So very quickly, I am able to see that he has been requesting information on how to set up email rules with Outlook, and as well as connections to the VPN. I will engage with him as an operator. Hello, how can I help you? I am going back to Safari to show you that now, before I was talking to the assistant, the virtual assistant, and now me as an end user web visitor, I am engaging with the operator. So let's imagine that me, end user web visitor here, I am on business travel and need to have access to help desk phone numbers. The agent on the live chat is able to quickly assess the question. Of course, the agent in this case is knowledgeable of the knowledge base that is used by the virtual agent to optimize time, etc. And regarding the question that the user is asking on the other side, he will quickly navigate to the knowledges that are available. So it seems that the closest answer to this, and to save time and to be optimum, would be to give him all the toll-free numbers for most of the countries. The live agent can, of course, customize the answer, send it right here. Going back to Safari, the user will have the answer to his question, and in less than 2 minutes, the problem has been sorted. Is this all you need? Yes, thank you. Feel free to contact at any time. Goodbye. So I am going to wrap up this dialogue here. And here we go. So we've seen the virtual assistant from a web channel front office point of view, from the customer's point of view. We've also seen the solution from its back office, the live chat option from an agent's point of view. And now let's have a look at the remaining menus and tabs of the back office. Let's start up with the Knowledges tab. This is where you, as an administrator, as a knowledge base manager, will upload your FAQ, will create the knowledge items, whether simple, more complex, knowledge trees, where you will define the intelligence and the knowledge that your virtual assistant will be able to answer. You are able to create categories on your knowledge items as you are seeing on the screen, network categories, office categories, subcategories on hardware, Lotus, portal in these examples, software, Outlook type of knowledge items as we've seen earlier. Any knowledge items that have not been tagged will be, let's say, inputted here on the untagged knowledge item list. Let's create a knowledge item. Let's click here on the setting wheel next to the knowledge tag. Click on create a knowledge. Let's decide that we are going to actually create a knowledge item in the common knowledge tag. And for the sake of this demo, I will create a simple knowledge item. Let's imagine that I need to create a knowledge that allows users to find information about their operating system. That will allow users to know what operating system they are running in their laptops. For the sake of this demo, and because I am running a Mac, I will make the example as if it were for a Mac environment. So this is where I will type as a user the question that the user for this specific topic that we just defined will ask to the virtual assistant. So I would like to know what OS I am running. Okay, so on a Mac, in order for you to know what operating system you're running, we have to go to the upper left side of the monitor, click on the Apple and about this Mac. It would be interesting if we could actually show this to the user, so I'm just very quickly going to do a little screenshot here. Click on the Apple icon on the upper left side of your monitor. Okay, I will enable the more options here where I could redirect the user to a URL, and also where I am able to configure the sidebar option that we have seen earlier in the demo. So I am going to create a sidebar to present this knowledge item. I will call it Apple OS, and this is where I will include and update the picture that will show in the sidebar. Now I have to actually update this picture. I haven't done so. What I'm quickly gonna do is I'm gonna go back to my back office, very quickly go to the settings, go to media gallery, upload this picture. I'm just very quickly gonna use this screenshot, upload it, already have it. So I will go back to my knowledge item configuration, choose the picture and update. I can change the size of the frame. Perhaps this doesn't need to be as wide as what has been configured. Maybe I should try 350 pixels, and I will update my knowledge item for it to be ready to go. You may have noticed that by default, when I create a knowledge item, it has a draft status. That means that it is not published, it is not online yet. I have several different statuses possible. Maybe I am not the administrator or the knowledge base manager, so I will create a status to validate, and so that when my manager comes, he will be able to see the knowledge, he will validate it, and he would either say that it is published or it has to still be a draft because there's a workaround to do. In this case, this knowledge item is good to go, so I will publish it, and I will click here on update so we can have this up and running. Let's quickly test this on the website. I would like to know what OS I am running. As you can see, this is working. Apple OS running. We can update and enhance the title. We have a lot of space to go, so we can definitely reduce the width to more than 50% and the height more than 75%. For the sake of the demo, you have seen how easy it is to create a knowledge item. Let's go back to the back office. Let's go to the Dialogues tab. The Dialogues tab allows me to see all of the dialogues that have been engaged by the assistant for the period of time that I have selected and that I wanted to see. Let's quickly show you how you would use this. I'm just gonna filter the failed dialogues. I'm gonna launch the Go. I will filter the ones that have been, for example, for the last 7 days. And I will go to the most recent one, so interactions that were held yesterday. For example, the assistant was not able to understand portal, just the word portal. Your assistant did not understand that question and gave some prepositions. You can click on it to associate to an existing knowledge. This is exactly what I'm going to do. I am going to search what is the closest knowledge item that I have that may be or that will be able to answer this user request when provided. So it is obvious that when a user is typing portal, what he probably wants is to know how to connect to the portal. As a knowledge base manager, I realize this, so I will complete this knowledge with it. I will associate to it, and the sentence portal has been associated with the knowledge how to connect to the portal. Let's look at the Analytics tab. This is where I have a summarized information on how my tool is performing. I have a summarized information on my dialogues, on how good is my virtual assistant qualifying the questions that are being asked to it. Summary look, quick look on user feedback. How is my knowledge base tagged, organized via tags? So we can see that 11% related to Office. Out of those, 84% are software related. Most of the knowledge base is not tagged, so this is definitely something that I would like to do along the way. Tag it, categorize it better. We can have a little bit of deeper view on dialogue qualification among all the dialogues that have been engaged on the period that I am looking on this last 30 days. How many have been able to get an answer directly? So first question first answered. How many needed extra additional questions from the virtual assistant to understand it? How many failed to be understood? And how many led to a live chat escalation? As well as how are my dialogues evolving along the period of time that I have chosen as well. We can go a little bit deeper into the dialogue chart, which shows us the number of dialogues that your assistant had with users during the time. This is where you have a discrimination as well between dialogue and interaction. So a dialogue contains several interactions. Here we can see the discrimination between interactions and business interactions. The difference between both of them is this one includes the social interactions when you are perhaps challenging the virtual assistant. Hello, how are you? What's your name? What are you doing today? Etc. And just the business related questions about Outlook, questions about configuring your network in this case. Very straightforward. Access to the browser distribution. What type of browser are my users using? And the operating system distribution. As you can see, not a lot of Mac users have been engaging with our virtual assistant. Very straightforward. Again, visitors. This is where you are able to view the amount of visitors that have actually seen your chat box. How many times your chat box was exposed. Important KPI here, transformation rate. Based upon the amount of times that the chat box has been exposed to a user, how many have actually engaged. It's the conversion rate. I show my chat box who interacts with it. Tags, charts show you the topics addressed by your assistant. We have seen this in the summaries analytic feature. And the chart on the right shows the tag evolution during that time. This knowledges feature gives us an analytic, allows us to know the knowledges that have been used the most. So in the last 30 days, for instance, the most popular knowledge item is how to fix my VPN. Very quickly, and this is very straightforward, as you have already realized, the bigger the disk, the more popular this knowledge item is. The greener the disk, the higher the satisfaction of the user engaging with this knowledge item. And the more red it tends to be, the disk, meaning the less satisfied the users are with this knowledge item. So these are definitely knowledge items that I have to check, that I have to update, that I have to change. Let's look at, for instance, a knowledge that has feedback, how to fix my VPN. I can see that as an example, it has a user comment. I will go and check what type of knowledge has that comment. So how to fix VPN. I have a negative user feedback. So I will be able either to search that knowledge to create a new one that is linked to this user question, or I can just go ahead and look which one it is, and I could change them. This gives you an idea on how responsive I can be with my user feedback. I am able to really understand the voice of the customer. Let's look at the analytics. Let's look at the qualification features. This is where I am able to see how well is my virtual assistant replying to the users that engage with him. Very quickly, I can see that almost 50% of the time, the virtual assistant is able to reply right away. So first question, first answer provided by the virtual assistant, bingo. We are able to see that almost 20% of the time, the virtual assistant needs to ask the user intermediate questions in order to arrive to the final and right answer for the user. Also, 13% of the time, the virtual assistant is not able to understand. This is something that we have to work on. And 20% of the time, there is an escalation to a live chat. We are able to have a view on the satisfaction and the feedback that has been provided from the user as well. And finally, let's take a look at the dashboard tab. This is where we have condensed information on the performance of the tools. As we've seen earlier, we are able to define the period of time we want to measure. We have the popularity on our knowledge items on a graph, as we've seen before as well. So the bigger the disk, the more popular the knowledge item is, the greener it is, the higher the feedback. So very quickly, we are able to spot what are the trending topics that our users are talking about, that our users are needing information from in the period that has been selected. Very quickly, we can have on the period of time selected the amount of dialogues that have been engaged, the amount of time that the chat box has been presented to users, and based on this amount of time that the chat box has been presented to users, how many have actually engaged with it, what is the transformation rate associated to this, how well is our virtual assistant able to qualify the conversations, what is our users' feedback rate, and also how can I keep on improving my virtual assistant. What are the knowledges that are disabled for my knowledge, and what are the knowledge that could be improved because they have negative feedbacks, and when was the last and who did the last modification. So to recap today's demo, we've seen the user's perspective, engaging with a virtual assistant on the website, a front office point of view on Safari web browser. We've seen as well from the agent's point of view how an agent is able to engage on live chat using the solution, and we've also seen from an administrator and or from a knowledge-based manager point of view the solution back office, the analytics features, the dialogue features, the knowledge creation features, and the dashboard features. This is all part of our Odigo suite, our multi-channel customer care solution. In this example, I am showing you the Odigo agent desktop on the voice channel with its corresponding multi-channel buttons on the live chat channel and on the email channel. Odigo also handle all channel conversations, as we've seen today, on the web, on the chat, as well as on social channels, mobile channels, and through web apps as well. Thank you very much for your time. If you have any questions, please feel free to come back to us.